Did you know that Microsoft allows malware files to be hidden in their NTFS implementation of alternate data streams? But they didn't do this on purpose. Microsoft has a few ways of improving the user experience by providing a method of hiding some certain files from the ordinary user. These files are really not of interest to the day-to-day user, but are necessary for the operation of the computer. So hiding the files are really just getting them out of the way. In this video, we will look at the different ways files are hidden in Windows, and we will explore how alternate data streams may actually prove useful to folks from the digital forensics and incident response world. To see hidden files, you can go to the View tab within the File Explorer, and then click on the Hidden Items checkbox here. What we see now is that there are two files on the desktop which were previously hidden. Those files that I had set to be hidden earlier by right-clicking on the file icon, then Properties, then in the Properties panel, check the Hidden attribute. Note that the hidden files have a faded icon versus the regular file icons which are not faded. There are different reasons why one would want to hide a file, ranging from the fact that the file is only a configuration file that doesn't need to be accessed by a normal user, to a malware file that a hacker is trying to hide. But these files are pretty easily seen, so not great tradecraft. Now let's click on the Options button in the File Explorer. From the Folder Options panel, select the View tab. Here are two settings that you can tweak, including the Hidden Files and Folder, which has the Don't Show or Show, and it provides pretty much the same function that we had checked earlier. And then there is the Hide Protected Operating System Files. If we uncheck the box for Hide Protected Operating System Files, a pop-up will warn you that these files are required to start and run Windows, and that deleting them can make your computer inoperable. Let's click on Yes. We are sure we want to display these files. And once I click on Apply, we see that there are two new files named desktop.ini that appear on the desktop. These two system files contain information about the folder, like the localized name and also the icon that is used to display it within the File Explorer. Again, these files are not being hidden because the owner wants to hide something nefarious, but rather because they are only used for the system and of no real interest to the normal user. So hiding them just gets them out of the way. So as we saw, normal hidden files don't provide that great of a protection from being seen and detected. What the cybercriminals are using to hide their payload is something called alternate data stream, or ADS for short. One thing that I want to highlight is that ADS is not really a Windows feature, but a NTFS file system feature. The reason why this is an important distinction is that if a Linux system is using the NTFS file system instead of the normal ext file system, then the hackers could be using this same feature to exploit that system. And if you are copying a file from an NTFS volume to a FAT volume, then the streams data would be stripped out. So you might want to be careful if you are doing live capture and you are copying files out. If your destination volume is not NTFS, then you may be losing information. The way that alternate data streams work is that any file or folder in the NTFS file system can have numerous streams attached to it. And by default, one cannot see these streams. Let's jump back into the File Explorer window here. And we have left the Show Hidden Files and Show Protected Operating System Files on, as we can see the files here on the desktop. If I look at my Downloads folder, we see that I have a few forensic tools here, and everything looks normal. Now let's jump to a command prompt by clicking in the path bar here, and then typing cmd, and then taking a different look at this folder. All right, so my command window, I'm going to type dir to get a listing of the contents of this folder. And I see the same files and folders listed in the File Explorer, which is 3 files and then 4 folders. So if I type dir space /a, I can now see all the files, including the hidden files, which is one extra file, the desktop.ini file. Now if I type dir space /r, What this is going to do is display all of the alternate data streams, and we can see some of the file names are repeated with a colon in the file name. So these are the alternate data streams of the original file. The first file we have here is access data underscore FTK Imager, but there is also a version of that same file name that has colon smart screen colon $data added to it. The $data at the end just means that it's the stream with a data attribute in the master file table. So basically, the real name is just colon smart screen. So let's take a look at the content of the stream named smart screen. I'm going to use the more command to view the file, but you can use Notepad or any other command that supports ADS. So I'm going to type more less than access data underscore FTK underscore Imager underscore 4.7.1.exe colon smart screen. All right, so this is very specific. It's not just the access data file, but colon smart screen, which points to really a separate file. And when we hit return, we see that it comes back with the word Anaheim. So this is basically Internet Explorer marking the downloaded file as potentially unsafe, as it was downloaded from the internet. A related file is the zone.identifier stream for the file hxdsetup.zip. This stream, called zone.identifier, was added to the downloaded file by the Internet Explorer program so that Windows can use it to warn the user of potential hazards. Let's take a look at the content of this file by typing more less than hxdsetup.zip colon zone.identifier. And we see the zone ID of 3, which means the file was downloaded over the internet, as opposed to zone 0, which is downloading off the local machine, zone 1, which is the local intranet, zone 2 is from trusted sites, and we just said zone 3 is internet, and then zone 4 is restricted sites. So as the zone number goes higher, it is more dangerous. All right, so then there is the referrer URL, which is the URL of the page where you initiated the download, and then the host URL, which is the URL of the actual downloaded file. And this information could be very useful in the DFIR world, as we now know the source of this downloaded file. And we can also look at the timestamps to see when this file was downloaded. Let's take a step back and look at how to create an alternate data stream for a file. Let's use the hxdsetup.zip as a starting point, as that file is already there. So to create another stream for that file, all we need to do is send data to the name of the stream. So for example, we want to create a new stream named S1. I'm going to use the echo command to send text to the stream named S1. I'm going to type echo followed by whatever words I want to put into the file or stream. I'm going to put text for stream S1 greater than or redirect into hxdsetup.zip colon S1. So once again, the special naming convention is the colon followed by the name of the stream. In this case, I'm going to call it S1. And I'm going to go ahead and run the dir command to see if that stream got created. So dir/r. And surely we see now that hxdsetup.zip has a new stream called S1. And we see that stream containing 21 bytes of data, which looks around about right for what we just typed in. All right, so to read back the data of that stream, we can use the more command again. So more redirect from or less than hxdsetup.zip colon S1. And so now we see that 21 bytes of data that we had typed in. If I want to create a stream that contains other types of data like binary, I can use the type command to do so. So I can do type osfmount.exe redirect or greater than hxdsetup.zip colon osf. So what this is going to do is that it's going to take all of the contents of that file osfmount.exe and then put it into a new stream called osf under hxdsetup.zip. So let's go ahead and run dir/r again to see what we got. And so now we see that HXD setup has yet another stream, and this one's named OSF. And the size of the stream is pretty big because it's got the contents of osfmount.exe in it, and it's the same size. So that's fine. Now let's go back to File Explorer and look at the file hxdsetup.zip. I'm going to bring up the Properties panel, and we notice a few items of interest. In this section about the size, we see that there is a size field that says the file is a little bit over 3 megabytes, which is what we expected because that's the size we saw before. A second field below, titled Size on Disk, says about 16 megabytes. And so this also makes sense if we think about it, because we added a 13 megabyte file, right, called osfmount.exe as a stream to this. So 13 megs plus the original 3 megs is about 16 megs. So if you ever see this discrepancy in file size versus size on disk, that may be a clue that there are alternate data streams at play. Another thing of interest is that the modified and accessed timestamps reflect when we added the new stream. The created timestamp is not changed. Lastly, you will notice a security section where you may not have noticed before with other files. And this is due to the zone.identifier stream, which identifies this file as being downloaded from the internet. If you check the unblock box, the zone identifier stream will be deleted. And so you won't see this section in the future. And if you go ahead and try to launch that program, if it's an exe, you won't get any warnings from Windows warning you that the file was downloaded off the internet. And one last thing is that alternate data streams is not limited to just files. You can also add a stream to a folder just as easily. So for example, if I want to add a stream to the WinHex folder, I just do what I did before. I can do an echo and then type in a bunch of text. So secret passphrase, open-sesame, and then redirect that or greater than symbol, WinHex:(S2). All right, so in the WinHex folder, I'm going to create a new stream called S2. So after that's done, let's go ahead and run dir-r to see what we created. And sure enough, we see that the folder WinHex has a data stream called S2. And so we can go ahead and read back that data stream again with the more command by doing more, redirect from, or less than WinHex:(S2. And we see the text that we had typed in earlier. The command prompt is fine for some basic manipulations of alternate data streams, but a simple thing like deleting that stream was not possible using the command prompt. But have no fear, Microsoft has provided us with the PowerShell, which has specific commands made for alternate data streams. I'm going to start by launching a PowerShell through File Explorer, just like I did with the command prompt. The reason why I do this way instead of launching it in another method is that this actually puts me in the same folder. Otherwise, if I just launch it from the shortcut menu, PowerShell or command prompt, they will start off at the default folder, which is not where I am. So let's just start off by looking at the items in the current folder. I'm going to type in get-item star. So this is basically the same thing as doing a DIR. It's just going to tell us all the files we have, and it doesn't say anything about alternate data streams. So let's go ahead and do get-item star again, but this time I'm going to add in the -stream parameter and then put star. And now I see all of the files along with their alternate data streams and a bunch of info that I don't care about. So let's shave this down by only looking at two fields, the file name and stream fields. In particular, we also don't want anything that matches the $data, as that is going to be basically true for any alternate data stream objects. Retype this again, get-item star -stream star. I'm going to pipe that into the select-object. And I'm just going to put file name, comma stream, because those are the only fields I care about. And then from there, I'm going to pipe that into a condition where stream -not match $data. Now we have a much smaller set of information, which is exactly what I want. I just want to see the files and the data streams. What we see is FTK Imager has a stream called Smart Screen. This file bluemonkey.exe has a stream named OSF, and then one named S1, another one named smart screen, and then another one named zone.identifier. All right, so to read data from a stream, we can use the get content commandlet. So let's take a look at the hxdsetup.zip file. So I'm going to do get-item of hxdsetup.zip. I'm going to pipe that into get content-stream of zone.identifier. So now it's going to spit out the content of the zone identifier, which is something that we've seen before. Next thing, we want to create an alternate data stream. What we can do is use the set content commandlet. So once again, we start with the base file. So get item hxdsetup.zip. This time we're going to pipe it into set-content and then specify -stream and then the name of the stream that we want to create. So I'm going to call it last update. And then lastly, you can put in some value or basically just some text. So -value April 1st, 2024. Okay, so now it's created a new stream. Let's take a look at what the content of that stream is. So once again, get-item hxdsetup.zip. Pipe that into get content-stream last update, right? Because that's the stream that we're interested in. And sure enough, we see the data of April 1st, 2024. All right, so using PowerShell, we can actually clear the contents of a stream. What we can do is do get-item hxdsetup.zip, pipe that to clear-content-stream of last update. So now, if we take a look at the contents of that stream by just doing up arrow twice, or if you want to retype it out, get-item hxdsetup.zip, pipe it to get-content-stream last update, we see that it's blank. Right, so the important distinction is that it's blank, not deleted. Now let's go ahead and delete this stream. What we can do is get-item hxdsetup.zip and pipe that to remove-item and then -stream last update. And so this way, it actually removes that stream, so that's no longer there. So if we up arrow to where we did the get-item of star-stream star with the select objects and so forth, if we run that, we can see that the stream last update was deleted. And there's one more special command, like I said, that is in PowerShell. And this basically mimics what was in the checkbox in the properties that we had saw earlier, where if we check that unblock-file, it is going to go ahead and delete the zone.identifier stream. So there is a PowerShell command to do that called unblock-file. And you just tell it what file, so hxdsetup.zip. And once we run it, again, what it's going to do is it's going to delete that zone identifier stream from that particular file. So let's go up arrow twice to get the get-item command again. And now we see hxdsetup, and it does not have the zone identifier stream anymore. There's definitely a lot more you can do within PowerShell using scripts and all these commands. So let me know in the comments below what scripts you've written, or if you want to see scripts in action in another video. So as you've seen, alternate data stream is an NTFS feature that was meant to enhance a user's experience with using Microsoft Windows. And we can see that hackers will exploit this feature to inject malware. But we also saw that the DFIR folks can utilize the data in these streams to track where downloads came from. We can use tools like FTK Imager to check out certain files. So if you click on the folder containing the files of interest in the evidence tree, you will see a listing of all files in the file list pane. And if you click on the specific files in the evidence tree, you will see the streams listed in the file list pane, and then the contents in the viewer pane. Once you click on a file in the file list, for example, I'm going to go back and click on the zone identifier file, which now we see has a type of alternate data stream. The viewer pane will now display the contents of that data stream, which in this case is the zone transfer information. One note about FTK Imager is that if you are specifically looking at a zip file, then you won't see the alternate data streams. In this example, our file of hxdsetup.zip does contain 4 streams, but we can't see them as FTK Imager notes that this file is of the type zip, so it only shows the content of that container. If we looked at this other file named bluemonkey.exe, we do see the 4 streams that we had created for it. So it seems like FTK Imager gives higher priority to letting you look at zip containers versus ADS files. For another video on Windows forensics, watch this video here. Click on the blue monkey to subscribe and give peace a chance. Thanks for your time and happy hunting.